welcome to the first devlog of Mission 28. So the plan is simple, make a game in 1 month and release it on Steam right after I turn 18. I turn 18 on the 28th, so the release will probably be the week after, but the base game has to be finished by the 28th. Why? I don't know. Now, I need a game to make, so I came up with this idea of a cyberpunk themed action puzzle platformer set in the middle of a war, and you're starting this syndicate with a group of others in order to sabotage the other forces and aid your own military in the war. And I actually had this idea from a 3D game I wanted to make years ago, and I still want to make it, but I have yet to actually start on it. So I got this idea on the 1st of February, so I had very limited time to actually do some programming that day. So the day was mostly spent getting down a concept and the basic art. So as you can see here, we have a bunch of sprites I used in order to test out different color schemes and designs, but in the end I went for these two. I'll add a character selector so you can choose to either be a male or female, but due to the limited time that's not going to be a main priority for now. The second day was all about getting the player controller. One thing I've always wanted to do was handling the player controller using a finite state machine, but that's something I've never looked into, but thanks to this tutorial from gamedev about finite state machines, I was able to set up a pretty solid foundation for the player controller, as well as some basic interactions with objects. I also added this gun to the player as I want the player to be able to shoot. At the moment it's just a separate sprite, but maybe in the future I'll add it to the actual sprite so that it looks a bit better, but this works for now. The play movement was fine, but not great. The movement still felt very basic, but didn't feel any special. I then got the idea that implementing a ledge grab would probably make it feel better and open up more variety in the level design, as you wouldn't have to rely on making every jump doable with just a jump alone, since you now could grab walls. It took me a while to implement, but with the state machine that I set up, it actually worked pretty good right off the bat, and I've yet to find a bug. I hope it stays like that. I was really happy with the progress I was making, but I kind of felt like it was lacking visually, and usually I wouldn't care about it this early into development, but considering that this was a game I would post on social media every day, I had to make it look at least a bit better. So the end of the day was spent drawing this really basic parallax background in A-Sprite and implementing it using Godot's parallax background node. The game already looked so much better after implementing it, but I had this issue that the background would mirror too late so you could see when the background cut off, which was very frustrating, but I fixed it in the end by basically just offsetting the sprite. I don't really know how it works, but it works, and that's what's important. I had initially set off 3 days for the player controller, but seeing as the player controller was basically finished, I spent this day implementing the basic enemy behavior. For the enemies in this game, I want 3 types. One humanoid robot that walks around and shoots at the player, one turret that's stationary and shoots a bit faster, and a flying enemy which flies towards the player and blows up on impact. So far I've only implemented the flying one and the turret. Making these enemies weren't that difficult, as of right now they don't have any pathfinding, which is fine for now, but I might want to add that in the future. As of right now, the enemies don't really feel that fun or challenging, which is my first focus after making this video, as I've planned to work on the enemies today. And for the turret, I definitely want to make it rotate towards the player instead of just shooting either left or right. And that's about this week's progress. Not so much overall, but a solid foundation. The next couple of weeks will be mostly focused on making levels. I want the game to have 3 areas with a hub safe zone between them. Each of these areas will have their own boss fight, which is probably just going to be bigger and stronger versions of the 3 enemy types, and I also want the areas to have their own theme. If you want to keep up with the development, I post daily progressions on basically every social media like Twitter, Instagram and even TikTok, so make sure to follow me there. You can also ask me questions about the game and give feedback, give me ideas for things you want to see implemented, and I'll maybe do so. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this week's devlog, and I'll see if I can get some content out during the week, but I'll probably be very busy with the game. But we'll see each other again next weekend for the next devlog. Goodbye.